All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and everybody in between. I am yours truly, Pat Dooley, alongside the full story Rory T. Miller, and this is Pro Wrestling Simulated. Welcome back, Rory.
Oh, thanks for having me, Pat. It's always an adventure being alongside you in calling any match, whether it be real or simulated.
Indeed. Indeed. And we got 12 of the simulated variety tonight as the first and second rounds of the 150 roll on. We are going to see 8 first round matches. Then we'll take a little 5-minute intermission before returning with the 8 winners facing each other once more in the second round. We're looking to see who will join last week's winners. Let's see if I can do this from memory. Leila Grey, Jamie Hayter, Jacy Jayne, and Natalya in round number 3. All WWE and AEW so far.
And well, I think that just spells bias to me, Pat.
It does kind of seem that way. Starlight Kid from Wonder Ring Stardom is going to hope to break that streak tonight. She is the highest seed of the 16 wrestlers. I'm sorry, I take that back. She's the second highest seed of all wrestlers we will see tonight. We'll see the highest in our next match. But let's head to the ring as she takes on WWE's Shotzi. Oop, that's not the right format. There we go. That's much better. Professional show business, folks.
We're live, pal.
That's right. We're going to do that again. Oh, Mean Gene.
No, we're live, pal. Was JR.
Oh, you're right. It was JR. Wasn't it?
Sid.
Yeah, I remembered it was Sid. For some reason, I had it in my head of a Shivani, or not Shivani.
Okerlund.
Yeah, Okerlund.
He had his fair share of others. Although I think my all-time favorite is still him being really upset at that SummerSlam sign falling.
Yes. Also,
live,
the person
live
smoking during Ric Flair's victory at Rumble '92.
Yeah. All right, good to see that Shotzi does get her tank, at least in the entrance here for well, Pat, where are we simulated from tonight?
Apparently Berlin, according to the on-screen graphic. That will not remain consistent between matches as it just randomly chooses one of the many cities that it has. I can go in and filter that, but I just think it's funny to be like, our opening match is in London. Match 2 is in Prague. Match 3 is in Cincinnati.
Yeah. Well, it's fun to have. It's definitely fun to have a multi-city wrestling event, as WrestleMania 2 can attest.
Yes, absolutely. One of the smoothest, most entertaining, consistent,
well received.
Yeah.
Fan favorite event of any WrestleMania, really.
Well, I mean, it has one of the all-time great main events. I mean, when you think about Hogan's great Mania matches, the cage match with Bundy's got to be right up there at the top.
Mm-hmm.
You can take your Warriors and your Andres and your Savages.
Yeah, who needs them? Give me Bundy in a cage. Honestly, I mean, is it still the only cage match ever in WrestleMania history?
The only traditional cage match, I think.
Yeah, we've had Hell in a Cell, but I don't think
Hell in a Cell a couple times.
Yeah.
But
I think it's still the only traditional cage match in WrestleMania history, which is baffling if you ask me, considering the cage match's history in wrestling. But really, we should be talking about the action here, should we? Shotzi is in the ring. We're waiting her opponent. Pat, what can you tell me about Starlight Kid?
Starlight Kid is the number 9 seed in our tournament because she was ranked 9th. Oh, we'll let the ring announcer do his thing. Okay, SLK. That's not bad. Community creator. I guess if you don't have Star or Light or Kid, you can go with SLK. She is known as the Genius Girl or the Sky Tiger. Starlight Kid is 4'11", 99 pounds. She is a very young star in the business, only, I believe, 8 years as a pro. This was her third appearance on a PWI list, catapulting up from number 76 on the 2021 list all the way up to 9 for 2022.
Incredible. Do you happen to have any of the reasoning as to why we have her at 9 here?
I do. So I'm just going to read this verbatim from PWI's entry. Having held 3 different championships during the evaluation period, she's revealed herself as one to watch in Stardom, even if the masked competitor doesn't reveal her true identity. Although SLK reluctantly joined the sinister Oedo Tai faction, the Sky Tiger gradually embraced her dark side, and in doing so, found new levels of success. It goes on from there, but that's the
Well, I couldn't have said it.
Statement.
Yeah, couldn't have said it better myself. Truly.
I couldn't have either, which is why I relied on the fine folks over at Pro Wrestling Illustrated. So I could just take a little nap, getting ready. All that slow walking to the ring wore her out, I guess.
Yeah, let's call this getting into the mind of your opponent. You know, kind of psyching them out a little bit. Feels a bit Finn Balor almost.
It is a little Finn Balor-y. It's a little Gold Dust.
A little Gold Dust as well, for sure. But I mean, as someone who does not partake in Stardom too often, I'm curious if that is indicative of Starlight Kid's presentation.
From the little bit I have seen, it is particularly her dark Starlight Kid persona that she started to embrace. But it's sort of a clash of styles here, as the very colorful, ballsy, badass Shotzi from WWE takes on the little more dark, little more sinister Starlight Kid. Going for the pin early is Shotzi. That would have been a pretty impressive upset, as the number 137 seed would have beaten number 9.
Yeah, but quite a flurry here in the early goings as well.
Shotzi qualified for this match by winning her qualifying match against Yuki Kamifuku back in episode 1, a match that the game gave 3 stars. We're already up to a half on this one.
Oh, and there's a comeback from Starlight Kid there, cutting her off with the Jawbreaker.
Pairing off with some strikes.
A series of strikes.
Step up Enziguri, and Shotzi hits the ropes in an awkward way on the way down.
Well, Pat, it's a good way to use the ropes to your advantage. Just, you know, if you can incapacitate your opponent even more, we got to cover here. 2
count only.
That was a very close there. The ref almost had this, but Starlight Kid doing not the thing that I would recommend. Definitely don't want to gloat to the crowd at this stage of the match.
No, much too early for that. Although she does seem to maintain control there with that dragon screw leg whip.
Starting to work on the leg. And a major lion salt, but it looked like Shotzi might have been in the ropes there.
Up to the top rope. What's she going for here? Oh, that's very similar to the Twisted Bliss.
A bit of a Twisted Bliss frog splash on that one. Very impressive.
Is she gonna do it again? No, just a straight up moonsault. Very nice. Hooks the leg. 1, 2. Oh, I thought Starlight Kid was going to make very short work of Shotzi there, and so did Starlight Kid.
Yeah, letting the ref have it on that one, which I appreciate that for sure. Because, yeah, that definitely looked like it could have been that flurry of high-flying, high-risk offense is something that could easily put any number of competitors away.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, there's a reason she's in the top 10 this year. Another quebrada.
Shotzi didn't go for the pin on that one, though.
No.
Curious.
Starlight Kid spending too much time playing to the audience here. And another. Now she hooks the leg. 1, 2. That does it.
That's it. Ring the bell.
I don't know why she felt like she needed to take that extra time to show off, but apparently it worked. As Starlight Kid moves on, she will face the winner between Savannah Evans and Laura Di Matteo, which is a match that's coming up later on this evening. Bear with me 1 second while I do my updating of the results. So
now here's the thing I like about Starlight Kid. Well, we got a 3-star match out of that one, which was very well done. A good flurry of offense from both competitors there. Although once Starlight got her cut off there and really took Shotzi out with that jawbreaker, I don't think Shotzi really came back from that.
She didn't. I think that's accurate. Shotzi had a lot of offense in the early going, but once Starlight Kid took control, she didn't relinquish it at any point. And she's moving on, where she will, as I mentioned, face either Savannah Evans or Laura Di Matteo later on this evening. Now I get to go through all the menus in 2K because it doesn't remember any of your match settings from match to match. I really hope that got fixed in 2K23.
Yeah, that would make it way too easy there, Pat. They had a lot of other. I'm sure with the debacle that was 2K20, they had a lot of bigger fish to fry than maintaining match settings through matches.
Probably. Probably. And I can't say I blame him. That was a rare wrestling game that I skipped because it was just as much fun to watch the glitches on somebody else's stream as it would have been to actually play them myself.
Although you have to think that if PWS was ever going to do a tournament of the best worst gimmicks, you'd have to do it on the best worst wrestling game.
I think so, yeah.
And 2K20 is going to be up there. I mean, there's probably some other, well, there are definitely some other very terrible games, but in terms of having something that still has a suite in order to create all of the necessary characters, 2K20 may be the way to go.
It might be, because you're definitely not going to get that with, say, WCW Backstage Assault.
Which was precisely the next game I was thinking about.
ECW Anarchy Rules, or... Yeah, there have been any number of bad wrestling games, but none that should have been better than 2K20.
Quite.
So I mentioned earlier, Starlight Kid is the second highest seed we'll see competing tonight. Obviously, the Queen on the right, Charlotte Flair, number 8 overall, taking on Jody Threat, number 136. See, Internet, Jody Threat is fine. Athena did not kill her.
Yeah, she's still here, right here.
Still right here. The winner will face the winner between Giulia and Sandra Moon, which is a match coming up later this evening. We are in Omaha for this one. And Jody Threat coming out to the APA theme for this entrance. The Wild Child representing AAW, which apparently stands for nothing. It's the official name of the promotion now, I think, is AAW Wrestling Redefined.
Well, you can definitely redefine wrestling when your letters don't stand for anything.
Yes. Well, I mean, it's not like they're the only major promotion that does that.
That's a fair point. What does WWE stand for again?
Exactly. Jody Threat from Toronto, standing 5'4", 141 pounds. She beat Erica Lee in the qualifying round to get here. A match that got 2.5 stars using her F416 finisher, which is, an F5. Josh Alexander was her trainer coming up, so she's technically sound. And speaking of technically sound, is probably the most decorated woman in the history of professional wrestling, the daughter of the Nature Boy.
From the Queen City, Charlotte Flair.
5'10", 143 pounds, trained at the WWE Performance Center by Sarah Amato. The Queen City, I recently learned, can mean either Charlotte or Cincinnati.
Cincinnati is what I knew it as. So yeah. When they reference her being more or less from North Carolina, when they say that when they're in North Carolina and it's Charlotte's, territory or her country, I was always taken aback because I was pretty sure the Queen City was Cincinnati.
Yeah, as somebody whose entire extended family is from the Louisville area, which is like right across the river from Cincinnati. Yeah, Cincinnati's definitely the Queen City. In fact, I think there's a promotion there called Queen City Wrestling. But Charlotte has adopted that as her own. Apparently, Charlotte is Charlotte's Queen City. Charlotte, the number 8 seed in the tournament, was number 8 on the 2022 PWI 150 list of the top female wrestlers in the world. She has been on the list every year since 2014 and has once appeared outside the top 10. And that was in 2021 when she was number 15. So Charlotte has dominated women's wrestling over the last decade.
Yeah, and it is hard to argue with her in-ring work and her character work as well. Like, as much as we want to criticize her for being a Flair and for being that person who politics or who possibly gets her way more often than others by pulling some strings backstage, she is very deserving of her accolades in terms of her in-ring quality and the reaction she gets from the crowd. And while I don't necessarily agree with her being, on the good side of the line, currently speaking, is there a better heel in wrestling period than Charlotte Flair? It's hard to argue there is.
Absolutely.
It's
a short conversation.
Yeah, exactly. When she flourishes, when she tells the crowd to bow down, there's not a quiet person in that audience,
No.
Once again, though, we have another hot start to this bout with Jody Threat taking it to Charlotte Flair.
Yeah. She hopefully learned the lesson from Shotzi in our opener that once you get the advantage, stay on top.
Yeah,
don't let anything distract you.
Absolutely, stay on them and don't and one wrong move can turn the tide in these kinds of matches. And I had to just go ahead and check out Jody Threat's Twitter page at the moment, and her her pinned tweet is a compilation of all of her matches she's had with male competitors in which she is dominant. And so you know that Jody is a threat to quite literally everyone, including the Queen.
Absolutely. Jody Threat, one of the most dangerous women on the independents. Equally adept both in the women's division and in intergender wrestling as well. In a dangerous way here from Charlotte. Charlotte dropping double knees off the top rope. Just a very stiff landing there. 1, 2 count only. We're talking about Charlotte. The conversation about nepotism babies has been in the zeitgeist over the last several weeks. And I think, I don't think it's any secret that Charlotte got the opportunities she got because of who her father was, but she's made the most of them, and she's stayed where she is because of her own skills.
Very true. Very true.
He opened some doors for her. She's the one that walked through.
Yeah, and made it count, because she's also not the first Flair that Rick has held the door open for.
That's right. Absolutely. We all remember David Flair's run in WCW, and a handful of us even remember him in TNA, where he was somehow worse. Jody's got her up on her shoulders. She's going for good Lord, I don't even know what to call that.
Yeah, I don't know if that...
2, she had her up. It was sort of like an Argentine backbreaker, but then power bombed her.
Flipped her out of it. Yeah, it was impressive. Corey Graves might have said, didn't get all of that one, but got enough of it anyway.
Got a good probably 70% of it.
One thing I will say, Charlotte Flair showing her veteran's instinct earlier in the match, going for the first pinfall, despite Jody Threat having a lot of offense early on here.
Oh, I thought Jody was going for a pounce there, but instead it hits a rolling elbow.
And
Charlotte just takes her head off with the big boot.
That'll do it, yeah. Target the head and neck after that one, for sure.
Head scissor, and then drops that elbow. 2. That was a memorable moment, according to the game. As Jody kicks out, looks like both women have a finisher stored here. Is it time for the figure 8?
Oh, she's going for it.
Looks like it is.
That could be over right here.
Figure 4 anyway. And bridge is
There's
up.
the bridge.
Referee not even looking.
I don't think you need to at this point.
No. Jody Threat hanging in there. It might still be too early for the submission, though. Flair has not worked over Jody's legs and torso that much. And it looks like she has to let it go.
Oh, wow.
It's an incredibly painful move for Jody, but it's also it's daunting to keep on 1, 2, 3. Okay, well, she wins it with a leg stomp, which is a little underwhelming, but
a bit underwhelming. But let's say that she wore her down with the figure 8. And you're right, it is a daunting move to just maintain even. And credit to Charlotte with her core strength to even be able to get up in the first place.
Absolutely. It's anybody who's ever tried to do that sort of bridge, you know what that does to your arms and your neck and your core. Charlotte has incredible core strength, but she's also smart enough to know that, as much wear and tear as it's putting on Jody, it was also putting it on herself, and it's probably best to let it go and then stomp on her leg and pin her that way. 2.5 stars for a good match, according to the fine folks over at WWE 2K.
Yeah, with at least one memorable moment thrown in there. Got some memorable moment points all the same.
Absolutely. So we're 2 matches in. We now know so far we're chalky. Starlight Kid and Charlotte Flair, the 8 and 9 seeds, both advancing to the second round. We know Charlotte will be facing either Giulia or Sandra Moon. That's a match that's coming up later on tonight. Giulia, another representative of World Wonder Ring Stardom. Speaking of Stardom, they're actually represented a lot tonight, including in our next match by Nanae Takahashi. Listen to Seth Rollins' entrance theme while I go through the menu here.
I guess we can't be too surprised that Stardom is heavily represented on this PWI top women's wrestlers, considering that they are probably the premier all women promotion in the world.
Absolutely. Yeah,
so
they.
What company has more opportunities for female wrestlers and talent in terms of being able to stay on TV and constantly work in a program and get the in-ring reps, because even in WWE and AEW, the rosters are so massive that everybody is fighting for time, and you can be a top of your game and still not utilized. I mean, this is one person that I noticed on Monday night that was absent from the Women's Royal Rumble was Carmella, who is able to go in the ring, and she was ready to do it, and they kept her out of the Rumble just to have her come back in a backstage segment on Monday Night Raw. And that's
a choice.
It's a choice. It's a choice. But a payday is a payday, and so good for her for that. But if you're someone who thrives on being in the ring, getting in the action, Stardom's probably the best place for that. For a woman wrestler.
Yeah, it's definitely a place where a lot of people get noticed. Stardom started this tournament with 18 participants. They are down to 14 after struggling through the qualifying rounds. Hopefully, Nanae Takahashi can change that, but she is the heavy underdog here. She's the number 105 seed going up against Pro Wrestling Eve's Alex Windsor at number 24. Nanae Takahashi has one of my all-time favorite unusually translated nicknames. Her nickname in Japan is the Flying Explosion Refrigerator. Which sounds like something that a sorority girl would have tattooed on her shoulder, thinking that it means eat, love, pray or something.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. I was thinking that sounds a bit like a Street Fighter finishing move.
Yes, that as well. That does sound like something E Honda would do.
Nanae Takahashi,
one fall. She is not from New York. She's from Kawaguchi, Saitama, Japan. But okay,
she's number one, Nanae Takahashi, and as is probably no surprise to anyone, I tried to look up the Takahashi's Twitter account, and she tweets in Japanese, and unfortunately I can't read Japanese. However, it does appear that she is a title holder, tag title holder currently in the Stardom promotion.
She's one half of the Goddesses of Stardom, which is the tag team titles there, alongside Yu. And to prevent any sort of Abbott and Costello routine, Yu is a Joshi wrestler spelled Y-U-U. They won the titles back in December.
Well, don't worry, Pat. I'm not a professional journalist, so therefore I won't fall for that trap. I knew very well that you was indeed a competitor on the Stardom roster.
Okay, that's close enough. Alex Windsor not getting an entrance theme. It's always weird when you download these community creations, because sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Apparently, Alex Windsor does not. Takahashi, 44 years old, a 26-year veteran of the Squared Circle. Alex Windsor was 3 when Takahashi debuted. Windsor, a 14-year pro, started when she was 15, but only 29 years old, is the current Rev Pro Undisputed British Women's Champion, a title she's held for over a year. And she was trained by the Knight family, which is Soraya's family. So Soraya, Ricky Knight, Zach Knight.
And they know a thing or two about getting between the ropes for sure.
They do indeed.
Takahashi going for an early pin
in there.
And seemingly surprised at not getting much of a count there, but it's early on.
And then foolishly turning her back on her opponent, giving Windsor an opening.
Yeah, so both of these competitors are, wow, what incredible strength from Alex Windsor.
Deadlift into a press slam from Windsor.
And showing it off to the crowd.
Dropping her warrior style.
Into the pin.
1.
Kick out at 1 there. Although that was quite an impressive maneuver, and honestly, should definitely be a memorable moment here in WWE 2K22.
Absolutely. Little splash. Windsor, I'm not sure what the significance of the design on her trunks is, other than they're cool, but it kind of look like the logo for the Golden State Warriors.
I can see that for
it's
sure.
Got the kind of the Golden Gate Bridge thing inside the circle that the Warriors do. It's going with the surfboard stretch there, but Takahashi gets out of it, goes into a pin.
Rolls into a pin. That's a great counter to that maneuver for sure.
Nicely done by the 26-year veteran. We're getting an air raid crash here from Windsor.
Oh, shaking the whole ring with that one.
Referee standing stoic, mesmerized by the action in front of him.
Letting these two competitors just go at it.
Big headbutt from Windsor leads to a pin. Referee way out of position. 2. Still almost enough.
Yeah, might have had it if the ref wasn't out of position on that one.
And Windsor probably rightfully getting in his face about it.
Yeah, I did pull up Windsor's Twitter account, her last tweet. Got a thing for eating cereal in the evening recently. Tonight is Crunchy Nut. Thought I'd share this important information with you all. Bye.
Oh, dive off the top rope. Takahashi caught her and power slammed her.
Yeah, incredible counter out of that one. And also caught Windsor's leg on the rope.
1. Well, perhaps Windsor should have eaten her Wheaties. That might have helped her get up. That's an ad campaign that I don't know if anyone under the age of 25 remembers. But
Wheaties do still exist, at least. Whether or not people are familiar.
Takahashi showing she's got some strength too.
Oh, with a big dominator there. Also, Takahashi showing some love for apparently one of her favorite American wrestlers in Bayley there on her tights.
Yes. Big frog splash. 1, 2, 3.
That's
and Takahashi
it.
pulls off the upset. Number 105. Nanae Takahashi. Over. So she's got some odd shading on her forehead. Earlier on, I thought she might have been busted open, but she just has, like, her bangs are slightly different color than the rest of her hair.
Yeah,
moves on.
It's all about choices. All right, the match quality kind of dipping here a little bit, going down into 2 stars out of 5 with an average rating. Not a lot of defensive prowess to speak of in this match, it seems.
No.
But Takahashi does pick up the win, and number 1, as Greg Hamilton here in 2K22 likes to say, is moving on.
She is indeed. She will face, I don't think I said this at the beginning of the match, but she will face the winner between Suzu Suzuki and Dana Brooke, which is a match that is happening shortly.
Incidentally, Suzu Suzuki is one of my favorite Phil Collins songs.
It's a great one. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I thought it was weird when he did a concept album about Joshi wrestling, but Suzu Suzuki.
I mean, if the Mountain Goats can do it about territorial wrestling from the 70s and 80s, then I think all bets are off at that point.
That's true. I mean, REM did a song about Memphis wrestling in the 80s.
Another, honestly, that would be a fun kind of a bracket tournament that you'd have to do in a different style from PWS, but it'd be a fun thing to do with wrestling themed music that isn't entrance themes.
Yeah.
Songs about pro wrestling or about pro wrestlers. Shooter Jennings, the son of Waylon Jennings, has a wonderful song called Bubba Sunday that is about a local wrestling hero who is a man of God, but also will break your effing arm.
I've never heard that.
I've only heard it. I heard it live, and I think it's one of those that he either didn't record or he recorded it on a very early, release, and so it's kind of hard to find unless you know where to look. But
gotcha.
Yeah, there's a lot of fun stuff out there. I mean, as we all know, wrestling is always capable of countless stories.
Yes, it is a storytelling medium first and foremost, and 2 of the best at that are about to go head to head here in our fourth first round match, easy enough for me to say, of the evening, as the current, no longer the current, the most recent AEW World Women's Champion, Toni Storm, takes on AAA's Lady Shani. The winner will face the winner between Willow Nightingale and Miranda Alizé, which is a match that is coming up this evening as well. But out first is Lady Shani. 5'6", 185 pounds from Lucha Libre AAA Worldwide. Sexy Violencia, Lady Mamita. She is the Extreme Mexican Wrestling Mixed Tag Team Champion alongside Dement Extreme. They've held those titles for 11 years, which makes me think that promotion does not run shows often.
Those were tag titles, correct?
Yes, mixed tag.
Well, mixed tag. Well, okay. I was about to say, women in tag titles have not had a very happy history here in pro wrestling, it seems, across the board. But all the same, yeah, I bet with an intergender tag title like that was it in AAA specifically?
No, it is Extreme Mexican Wrestling.
Yes,
is the name of the promotion. So I feel like that's probably one of those that like every couple of years runs a couple shows.
Yeah.
I wasn't able to find much on it other than it is listed on her cage match profile.
Well, as I've been trying to do here, I've been trying to look up social media accounts and everything for each of the competitors here, just to give a little bit of character insight into each of them. And Toni Storm famously not on social media after a bevy of harassment and bullying and a lot of other very shameful things. And quite honestly, anyone watching should know that that kind of thing is not tolerated. It's not cool for anybody, let alone for someone that is trying to entertain you.
Yes. Yep. It has no place in this business, and yet for some reason it is everywhere. But I do feel like things are changing for the better in that regard as more people are becoming aware of the problem. But it's still a problem.
Yeah, it's a slow and steady slog, but we are, our arc of justice bends, or the arc of history bends towards justice on that one.
Yes. A European uppercut from Toni Storm leads to a 1 count as the referee, again, well out of position.
Trying to make quick work of this.
Yeah, both women 13 years pro. Toni Storm started when she was 14 compared to Lady Shani at 16. So Shani is 2 years older, but they both have the same amount of in-ring experience. Toni has had more success on the international scale, though Shani is quite popular in her native Mexico. Toni's another one of those that has been a staple of the PWI lists. Has been on the list every year since 2017, although not this most recent year. This year she was 25, but in 2021 was her lowest ever at number 121. But she shot back up the list after signing with AEW and recovering from injuries. And very nice counter out of that armbar.
Yeah, great counter for sure. Although she was right in the ropes there. I'm not sure why she didn't grab them, but to each their own on that one. This has been a striking fest from both of these competitors so far. And right now, Toni Storm finds a turnbuckle. Lady Shani on the advantage here. Reversal, but into
Shani
a beautiful
the Daniel Bryan roll, ducks the clothesline, and fires back with one of her own.
High octane offense here. Lady Shani trying to get the crowd on her side here too, as well. Cover. 2
count only.
Lady Shani getting in the ref's face. We got to stay on this here.
Yeah, absolutely. You have an advantage over one of the best wrestlers in the world. You need to not let yourself be distracted. Stay on her. Put her away.
Devastating backbreaker there. Could feel the impact from all the way back here. And I don't even know what city we're in tonight here, Pat.
Was this the match that was in Omaha, or was that the last one?
That was with Charlotte, I'm pretty sure.
That was the Charlotte one. Okay. I don't remember what this one was.
Also, for those keeping score at home, Lady Shani tweets in Spanish, and I don't know that much Spanish, so I'm afraid I can't really give you too much insight there. Probably going to be an issue for any of the international competitors we have here tonight. Toni Storm showing off with that
nice delayed one-handed vertical suplex there. Rolls through into
an Alabama slam position here. Oh no!
Oh god, drops her across her neck. Is that Storm Zero? Is that what she calls that? Oh, whatever it was.
I don't think
that's 2 count.
No, it's got a 2 count. I don't think that's Storm Zero though.
Is it not? She has so many similarly named moves. She has like Storm 1, Storm 0. I can't remember which one is which. Tiger Driver. That one I know. 1, 2. 3. That does it. Toni Storm moves on. And
Toni Storm,
her own neck in celebration.
And keeping up her own status as a competitor who wins a lot. Toni Storm, famously on the indie scene, rarely looked up at the lights from her time in Australia through the UK. And then she made it to NXT and then on to WWE and started seeing a few more losses on her record, but still hasn't diminished her star, I don't think. AEW has definitely helped with that as well.
Absolutely. And whoever winds up being her opponent later on tonight, whether that's Willow Nightingale or Miranda Alizé, that should be a very fun match later on this evening. We are a third of the way through tonight's matches. So far, the favorites are 3-1. The only upset being Nanae Takahashi beating Alex Windsor. Otherwise, it has been one from Stardom, two from Stardom because Takahashi's from Stardom. But Starlight Kid, Charlotte Flair, and Toni Storm, all of the major promotions represented here.
Also, that Tiger Driver is the Storm Zero.
That is Storm Zero. Okay, Thank you.
Had to look it up. And that was the thing that actually propelled her through much of the women's tournament that WWE hosted several years back now.
Yes, the Mae Young Classic.
Mae Young Classic, thank you for that one. Beating the likes of Meiko Satomura and Io Shirai / Io Sky, and many others for that matter. What was Toni Storm was ranked 25 on this year? 25. Yep. That feels like a solid rating for a competitor of her stature. I assume that part of her AEW Women's Championship reign made it into the window there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm not positive what the evaluation period is for the women's list, but I suspect it's probably my hunch is it's probably like fall to fall, so like September to September, October to October. But
that is seemingly where they have it for the men's. So
yeah,
right. So I would imagine that it'd be similar.
Yeah, because the women's it's back to back issues. The PWI 500, the women's 150, and the tag team 100 they're the October, November, December, January, February issues of PWI. I think possibly November, December, January, because magazine publishing times are weird because they come out like 3 months later than what their cover date says.
Oh, the age of print media.
Yes, you gotta have a long lead time, and you gotta be careful because we're in San Antonio, side of the Royal Rumble. You gotta be careful because you don't want to accidentally spoil the finish of a show, like WWF magazine did back in 1988. Was that one? Yeah, for WrestleMania 4, when they accidentally published an article about new WWF champion Macho Man Randy Savage.
Oh man!
Before WrestleMania 4 had happened.
I do recall that happening. I knew it was in that era, but I couldn't remember precisely what the spoiler was on that one. Well, and in my quest to look up the social media accounts of the next competitors, I can easily find Dana Brooke. That's no problem. Suzu Suzuki, however, the person I found is someone who crochets and tweets about it. I'm pretty sure that is not the correct account.
I mean, we all got to have hobbies, Roy.
It's true, but I feel like a person with 2 or with 3 followers and only following 2 people is probably not a contracted pro wrestler.
That's probably accurate.
Yeah.
Dana Brooke, 8-year pro, 34 years old, trained by the WWE Performance Center, has been with WWE her entire career. I remember her welcome vignettes in NXT back in whatever that was, 2015. Seemed like they were really hyping her up to be a big deal, and then just never really did much with her.
I think it's a combination with Dana Brooke. It's a combination of her her relative inexperience early on, and she seemed to stay green for a little bit. But then also she was a competitive bodybuilder and weightlifter, I believe. So I mean, she had other obligations outside of the ring that probably impacted their ability to maintain certain storylines with her.
That's true.
So I feel like that was probably the biggest thing. And at this point now, when you look at the women's roster in WWE, it's hard to find space at the top, because there's so much incredible talent at the top of WWE right now,
as there was in NXT when she debuted. You got to remember what that 2015 NXT women's roster looked like.
You're still dealing with
and Becky and Bayley and Sasha.
The 4 horsewomen were still there. Asuka was fast approaching.
Shayna Baszler was on her way up.
Yeah, so there's so many issues of finding a place, but Dana Brooke has found her place and has still maintained her status on the WWE roster, including being one of the preeminent 24/7 champions.
Yep, I believe she's a 14-time champion in that division.
I believe that's right. She definitely was one of the biggest supporters of the 24/7 title. Showing much frustration on social media after its unceremonious dumping into a waste can, or an attempted dumping.
I was going to say
dumping
adjacent to a garbage can.
Yeah,
by Nikki Cross. Suzu Suzuki, the violent prodigy, only 20 years old, 4 years of Dana Brooke just pulling her out of the corner into a power bomb. Suzuki, the number 41 seed, Dana, the 88. Suzu is 1/3 of the Artist of Stardom champions, which is their trios title, alongside Hiragi Kurumi and Risa Sera. They won those titles on December 29th. She is 5 feet even, 114 pounds, so she's giving up a fair amount of size here to Dana. Nice super kick there. 1 count only. But Suzu can do it all. She is an all-rounder, but she also is not afraid to mix it up in hardcore or death matches. So we'll see if she can resist the temptation to bring some plunder into this one, which, in the rules of PWS, might get her disqualified.
And that could cost her in this tournament.
Absolutely. It is a single elimination tournament, so get yourself disqualified, you are out.
Throwing those hands now is probably a good strategy on Dana Brooke, who, for all of her strength and her background in bodybuilding, is not much of a striker.
She's not. She's much more of a power, for lack of a better term, a lifter in the ring. A lot of slams and drivers. Suzuki trying to take that away from her by concentrating on that arm. Brooke overpowering her turning it into a swinging head scissor. Very nice move there by Brooke.
Yeah, very incredible.
1, 2 count only. The winner of this is going to face Nanae Takahashi later on tonight. That'll be the first match that we know of.
The full competitors.
Both participants, but there will be 3 others after the intermission. I don't know what Dana was doing there, but now she's going to the top rope.
Probably a little bit of a not a lot of ring awareness there. A high crossbody to come back from it for sure. Once again, Suzu Suzuki's Twitter account is we've got a springboard into a head scissors here from Dana Brooke. Very nice. Well executed. Suzu Suzuki's Twitter account is in Japanese. However, I can't say cover here. 1, 2
count off the handstand elbow drop.
But I can look at videos and see things, and Suzu Suzuki has an incredible athletic spirit here, and also can put you to sleep real fast with basically her own version of a Kurafuda clutch. Looks pretty devastating, but Suzu Suzuki, certainly a scary individual that I wouldn't want to step in the ring with.
Yes. Well, Dana Brooke holding her own thus far. She looks like she's got Suzu stunned,
using her power advantage and her size advantage here, which is the right way to go.
Absolutely. It's only about a 10-pound weight advantage, but she does have 3 inches, and that can make a big difference in a match like this. You get extra bit of reach.
Yeah, more reach definitely helps out, and then the height can affect your ability to apply certain holds properly.
Absolutely. You have improved. I'm blanking on the word. Leverage.
Yeah.
Being, what was that Foucault said about give me a long enough lever, I can move the world. Brooke's lever isn't that long, but she does have the advantage in that department. Up into the fireman's carry. I believe is that the Brooke bomb that she just hit her with?
Seems to be, and it's good enough for the win.
And then we've got our second upset of the night. So that Brooke Takahashi match is going to be the first two upsets of the evening against each other.
All right.
Congratulations to Dana Brooke, also getting her own entrance music because it's an in-game model rather than a community creation. The Brooke bomb gets her a second round showdown with Nanae Takahashi. And we've got 3 more matches left before we take our intermission and before we kick off the second round. We have another independent star against another Stardom wrestler. Stardom has struggled in this tournament so far. Coming into tonight, they were 1-4, and tonight they've gone 2-1. So that's helping a little bit. They've climbed from a 20% win percentage to about 38, which is an improvement. You don't need to see me poking around in menus. So it's an improvement, but it's definitely not what you would expect from the premier women's wrestling promotion in the world.
Yeah, pound for pound, they probably have the strongest roster. But again, like I was talking earlier about Dana Brooke's ability to crack that glass ceiling of the main event scene in WWE, it's hard to argue with the star power of WWE and the in-ring ability of the top tier in AEW as well. Which
Absolutely.
is what we're seeing on display here tonight. I mean,
yeah.
Toni Storm has advanced. Charlotte Flair has advanced. So it stands to reason that these top tier athletes can make it. Now, if Stardom may have one of the largest bulk numbers of entrants in the tournament, but hard to argue with just who is the best.
Yeah, absolutely. And mentioned last week the 4 women who have already clinched spots in the third round. 2 of them are from WWE, 2 of them are from AEW. So we will see if Giulia can continue evening things out for Stardom, or if the independent star from Las Vegas, Sandra Moon, the subspace sweetheart, can continue to add to Stardom's woes here.
Now, forgive me, I'm not too familiar with the community creations here. Is that an actual picture of Sandra Moon?
It is. Yeah, you can upload actual photos as pre-match icons. Oh, we're at the Meadowlands.
East Rutherford, New Jersey, one of the premier or one of the preeminent venues in pro wrestling, especially in WWE.
Absolutely, yeah. A lot of WWE shows took place in East Rutherford. Still, anytime they have an outdoor show in New York, New Jersey, it's East Rutherford.
They do love combining those two. Say, hey, we're in New York and New Jersey.
No, you're not. You're in Jersey. Yeah. You can see the skyline, but... So, yeah, Sandra Moon, the subspace sweetheart from Las Vegas, Nevada, trained by Swade Thompson, a 6-year pro. She is the current Party Hard Wrestling Party Monster Champion, a title she has held. She's about 2 weeks shy of having held that for 2 years. 5'10". She's one of the tallest competitors in our tournament, and 134 pounds. So she's going to have a decided power advantage here against her opponent, Giulia.
Indeed. Is it the Party Hard champion, you said?
The Party Hard Wrestling Party Monster Champion.
That is quite a name. And honestly, if Andrew WK didn't hold that title at one time or another, then I don't consider it valid. But I will say one thing about Giulia real quick. But well, I guess right after the announcer makes their announcements here, which seemingly will be coming up.
Yeah, Giulia, one of the top stars in Stardom, is not Japanese. She is from London. She was trained by Mio Shirai, the sister of Io and / Io Sky. So, great pedigree. She is the current World of Stardom champion title that she won back in December. So she is the top star currently in World Wonder Ring Stardom.
Well, and she also is a force to be reckoned with inside the ropes. And as I've noticed just from looking up her most recent high profile match was against a former competitor we just saw, Suzu Suzuki.
Yes.
They brutally beat each other to death in one of these matches with stiff strikes. There was an insane looking tombstone move that we noticed, and then
that's Giulia's glorious driver, the tombstone with the arm trapped.
Yes.
Yep.
That was a very devastating move. And then Suzuki just got her head knocked right off with a big knee from Giulia. And I got to tell you, I do not envy Sandra Moon at this point.
Well, she eats a flying forearm in there in the early going. She tried to get aggressive, but Giulia just put her right down. Looking at her cage match profile, Giulia has some of the best nicknames. So here's the list: Beautiful Madness, Dangerous Queen, Dark Dormitory Manager, which sounds like a dating sim that you would play on the 3DS.
Oh man, that's accurate.
Glorious Warrior, the Indomitable Italian Woman, Second Generation Hot Topic Woman, and the Gladiator of Glorias.
Yeah, a lot of those are great, and a lot of those are not. And I think you said Glorious Warrior.
Yes.
My wife, who took many years of speech therapy, would be very upset at hearing that kind of name and having to repeat it often. That is one to show for sure. But Sandra Moon now coming back.
Yes, Glorious Warrior, very much like the running gag on 30 Rock of her movie, The Rural Juror.
The Rural Juror.
Sandra up to the top rope. Okay, awkward landing on the crossbody. Both women down. I think Sandra got enough of it. Hooks the leg.
For the pin.
1, 2. Giulia able to kick out. Sandra can't believe it. But does the smart thing. Gets right back on the offensive. But Giulia takes her down with the dragon screw. Now playing to the crowd. Now it's Giulia the one making the mistake, literally turning her back on Sandra, which allows her to plant a forearm in it. And again,
series of forearms
and
here.
Again,
honestly, quite an indie-rific move for one of the independent scene's fastest up and coming stars.
Tombstone there
from Giulia,
going with the Undertaker pin too. 2 count only.
Yeah, not quite enough.
If she had hooked that leg, she might have done the Glorious Driver. That might have been enough.
Yeah, the Glorious Driver wasn't achieved on that spot. I will say Sandra Moon is going to be taking on Masha Slamovich later in March, and so Sandra Moon is not someone to take lightly here. It's someone whose star is definitely on the ascent.
Absolutely. That should be fun. I like Masha a lot.
That'll be good, heavy, heavy like lifting and striking match. It'll be intense, powerful match.
Yeah, it'll be a Haas fight, which you don't get a lot of in the women's division.
Yeah.
Gut wrench into a laid out power bomb. Beautiful move by Sandra.
Beautifully done.
1, 2, 3, and Sandra Moon pulls off the upset, pinning the World of Stardom champion.
Just got the better of her here, it seems. I think Giulia came in with probably the right idea of trying to just say, this is a war of attrition. I know I can take more of this punishment, but just wasn't ready for Sandra Moon's onslaught.
And I think a big part of it, honestly, is the size advantage. That as much as Giulia must have game planned for this, it's one thing to watch tape on somebody and be like, oh, she's big and strong, I'll need to do this and this and this to counter it. It's another thing entirely to have that big strong woman pummeling you with forearms and dropping you with a power bomb.
Yeah, it's nice to have a plan, but that plan goes out the door the moment you get cracked in the head,
That's right. What's the expression? You want to make God laugh, make a plan. That That may have been what cost Giulia there.
In this case, Sandra Moon left and walked away with a victory.
And Sandra Moon will now face Charlotte later on in this episode. We also know Dana Brooke will face Nanae Takahashi. We do have 2 more first-round matches to get through before we get to that, though. As I go through the menus one more time. I mean, I guess I could just do it with the default, but I don't want to.
Yeah, we want to mix it up at least a little bit.
Yeah. Also, in case somebody does decide to go under the ring, I don't want just chairs and kendo sticks. I don't know why that's what it defaults to. But
I'll say this too about Sandra Moon, since I'm still looking at her profile here on social media. The official West Coast Pro match that she'll be having with Masha Slamovich is for the inaugural West Coast Pro Women's title.
Oh, very nice.
So that the history will be made on March 4th, one way or the other.
Oh no, I just accidentally backed out of something. That should be a fun match. I'm looking forward to that. Does it say how you can watch it? Is it going to be on IWTV or Fight?
Tickets are on sale for the live event. It's West Coast Pro, so I believe they do have I believe they do have something in the works, but I don't see anything. I'm now on West Coast Pro specifically, and it doesn't appear that they're saying right away whether they'll be able to watch it on streaming. Though you'd think for sure this would be, especially with that kind of a match, that would be one to promote and to get out there.
You would think, especially with the crowning of an inaugural champion, you would want as many eyes on that as possible. But now we're going to see who, up until fairly recently, were possibly the 2 top names on the women's independent scene and in the States. Of course, Willow Nightingale now signed, but she's facing Miranda Alizé, who probably gained her most prominence in the States when she made it to the finals of Ring of Honor's Women's Championship tournament, facing Roxy, who's now Roxanne Perez in NXT. Oh, and we're still in East Rutherford.
You know what? Some of these matches had to have more than one on the card.
I don't think that's her actual Twitter handle. They don't usually have spaces in them.
Yeah, it's not. Her actual Twitter handle is her name, but with an underscore after it.
Yeah. Miranda, an 8-year pro trained by Booker T. This is the 3rd ever meeting between these two. They each have 1 victory. So we will see who wins the rubber match, so to speak. The winner will face Toni Storm later on in this episode.
Another unenviable task, just like facing someone like a Charlotte Flair or any number of other of the higher ranking.
Yeah. Starlight Kid or hey, in this case, Willow Nightingale. The babe with the power.
From New York, Nightmare.
Close enough. So Willow Nightingale, a 7-year pro, only 28 years old, trained by Bull James and Mike Mondo. She's originally from Franklin Square, New York. This was her 3rd appearance on PWI's top females list. She's also been in the PWI 500 3 straight years because until she went to AEW, had made a career out of wrestling in both the women's and intergender divisions. And because she was on the PWI 500 in 2021, she was on our 500 tournament, season 1 of Pro Wrestling Simulated, where she lost in the first round to Lance Archer.
But it was a pleasure. It was an honor to be nominated.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's always a pleasure to see Willow. The crowd getting behind her. Her music weirdly quiet, and I'm not entirely sure who she's pointing at, but taking the Sabu approach.
It's hard, either way, it's hard not to get behind Willow Nightingale. She's got an energy that is unlike many of her peers. And one thing you love to see in this modern jaded era of wrestling is a genuine babyface that you just want to root for. And boy, do I want to root for Willow Nightingale.
Absolutely. But Miranda thinking otherwise, taking her down with the headlock early here.
Miranda Alizé, one of our I don't know how many there are on the list itself, but she is of the things that I'm about to say. She is she's an openly queer pro wrestler.
Yes.
And very much supportive of all sorts of LGBTQ issues and events, and very proud of that, and states as much on her social media platform. So just want to make that known that there is some representation from that community in this tournament here with Miranda Alizé.
Excellent. Yeah, we've seen quite a bit of representation from the LGBTQ community throughout the tournament thus far. We saw Max the Impaler was in action a couple of episodes ago. We will see Edith Surreal will be in the tournament later on. I don't believe she's had her first match. And down goes Willow
to the outside. Oh, the first time of the night we've had the match go to the outside here.
It is indeed. You have to imagine that Toni is backstage watching this, excited about the prospect of these two just beating the holy hell out of each other, so she can kind of come in and pick the bones after the intermission.
Good strategy from Alizé too, taking the larger opponent to the outside to apply that extra damage. Throwing him into the steps or into the barricade there, and utilizing the ref's 10 count to do it all.
Yep. And actually, we're using a 20 count. We're using the for some consistency from when we did our last tournament in Fire Pro. We are using the Japanese / Ring of Honor 20 count on the floor.
Fair enough.
We've got even more time. Of course, through 3 weeks of this tournament, nobody's been out there longer than I think 11 was the highest the count has ever gotten. But we'll see if Miranda keeps Willow out there. She doesn't seem to be in a rush to let her back in.
Yeah, she's taking her time. But also, if you got till 20, I don't blame her. Like do your work, get the damage done.
Goes into a variation on the hammer lock. Now pulling back on the wrist of Willow. And then driving her knees into the spine.
She is picking her apart limb by limb on this one. And now there you go.
Sending her into the steps.
Got her knees and her gut there on that one, and that's going to just take the wind out of Willow, but also keep her legs damaged, and so it makes it more difficult to walk.
Absolutely. You can't pounce somebody if you can't walk.
Yeah. Willow trying to come back with these strikes, but Miranda Alizé might be too fresh
Not on
here.
The concrete Willow.
Oh no. God. Massive slam.
Alabama slam on the floor.
We're up to 13 here now on this count. These two are really just taking it out. All right. Willow breaking it up here.
At 14. Might be slowly to her feet.
Good time to catch her breath here, it seems.
Yeah, absolutely. She's got 5 seconds. Why not take all of them? But she only takes one. But comes right in with a flatliner.
Positioning her opponent
away from the corner. I guess she was too close to the ropes. 1, 2, 3. Okay. I guess that extra couple seconds on the floor did give her time to gather her thoughts and fire back with that flatliner.
That was a bit everywhere, I believe.
In case you can't tell from the ring announcer, the default options for names are not great. I know he was going for the Lucha Baddie Miranda Alizé there, but that's not quite what they pulled off there.
Yeah, it didn't quite work.
Miranda will face Toni Storm when we come back from our intermission, but we do have one more match still to go to find out who will be facing Starlight Kid later on tonight. Miranda Alizé gets the win. Willow, and cross her off my list, is out.
Another shameful defeat for Willow Nightingale, who, quite frankly, in my opinion, deserves the world. Here's hoping that 2023 is going to be a big year for her specifically.
I hope so. I am a big fan, and Rory, I know you are too, of good things happening to good people. And Willow just seems like good people.
Truly.
I've never heard a bad word about her from anybody. She seems to be universally beloved by her coworkers and by the fans. So yeah, only good things for Willow in 2023.
But also congratulations to Miranda Alizé advancing on in the tournament. Another one with so much promise, and as long as she can keep her presence in the right locker rooms and not the wrong locker rooms, I think we can have a lot of good things for Miranda Alizé in her future. And I only say that because I just recently came across a match she had with Tessa Blanchard. Which, you know,
sorry, with who?
With Tessa. Blanchard.
Tessa. Yeah. I'd like to think Miranda's got her head on her shoulder. She was trained by Booker T, who is another one of those guys that you don't really hear anything negative about. So hopefully she follows in her mentor's footsteps and keeps her head on straight. So this is our last match before the intermission. We're going to see Savannah Evans, the number 56 seed, take on number 73, Laura DiMatteo in Minneapolis. Speaking of perhaps people you don't want to be aligning yourself with, Laura was trained by Jimmy Havoc 7 years ago when she was first breaking into the industry. She's originally from Rome, but has wrestled all over the world. She is currently one half of the Pro Wrestling Eve Tag Team Champions, alongside a name I'm sure I'm going to butcher, but I believe it's Rain Leverkusen. They just won those titles about 4 weeks ago.
Wow.
One fall.
Making her way to the ring from Rome, Italy, Laura DiMatteo.
Okay.
Laura DiMatteo. That does feel like what you would do for what WWE would do to change the name up ever so slightly.
Yes.
I do appreciate LDM, as she is known on Twitter at least. LDM's throwback style, the no knee pads and the striped socks above the boots, and definitely a badass look for sure. I don't want to step in the ring with an athlete of the prowess of LDM there.
No, but somebody who's up to the task for sure is Savannah Evans. Savannah Evans from Impact Wrestling, the Cannibal, as you can see on her tights. 9-year pro, trained by Caleb Conley, Cedric Alexander, and George South. She is both the Firestar Pro Wrestling Jewels of Wrestling champion and the Fest Wrestling champion. She's 5'9", 172 pounds. She is a monster in that ring. She's primarily likes to attack her opponents with suplexes. She's got a Wicked Fisherman's and Northern Lights. Those are typically her signature moves. And we will see if she's able to throw Laura DiMatteo around.
And Cannibal is a great name for her as well. As her Twitter bio says, I'll fight anybody and I will eat them alive.
Love that.
And off to a good start here against LDM now with the elbows in the corner into the cover.
Not bothering to play with her food. She's just going back for seconds already, taking DiMatteo down.
Well, a longer match doesn't give you more pay, so why not get it done earlier?
Yep, exactly. You get paid the same whether you win in 30 seconds or 30 minutes. So why waste your time?
LDM with
trip
with
there
the
by DiMatteo. Goes back into an armbar. Nice wrench there into almost a single arm DDT. And then a diving reverse DDT. DiMatteo heading to the middle rope now. What's she got planned? A big, almost a punch off the top rope. I thought she might have been going for a drop kick, but I think she caught her with that right hand.
Going for the cover.
Pin. 1, 2. Laura DiMatteo also not getting paid by the hour.
And that's something I appreciate about both these competitors in this. Well, actually in the tournament overall. Big
Good
spin
Lord.
here.
An airplane spin out of a front chancery. You can break a neck that way.
And that could be the goal there, Pat.
It's possible.
What a throw.
The winner will have to face Starlight Kid later, so I don't blame either of them for wanting to conserve some energy here.
Yeah, get it done fast, and then save up your energy for the number 9 seed in Starlight Kid.
Number 9.
Yeah, you're gonna need every ounce of strength there. But these two are heavy hitters, and they're going at it. Oh, these forearms into the back get me every time, Pat.
You know that hurts.
Yeah, there's no way for that to not hurt.
No, if you ever accidentally backed into a cabinet that you didn't know was still open or something along those lines. Now imagine somebody hitting you with that cabinet repeatedly. I think Savannah might have been biting her.
Might have been, yeah. There's at least a head squeeze and a little bit of a taunt. Now into the exploder.
Having a bit of an appetizer. Going for the pin. 1, 2. Oh.
Ooh, very close.
First course might have been over for the cannibal, but Laura Di Matteo hanging in there.
Savannah Evans has the hashtag feed me or fight me on her profile.
Oh, God.
Oof.
Vertical suplex into a go to sleep. 1, 2, 3.
That's
Savannah
it.
Evans picks up the win, ending the streak of 3 straight upsets. So it will be Savannah Evans against Starlight Kid.
That would definitely be a match worth watching on pay-per-view, Pat.
Yes. So that's the number 56 seed over the number 73. Laura Di Matteo, thanks for coming. 2.5 stars.
Yeah, once again, not a lot of defensive prowess in this match, but honestly, I don't think this is the kind of match that didn't need it. These two were they are all impact, no pun intended, and just a house of fire coming out of the gate on both sides. Just offense across the board. Hurt your opponent, feed me or fight me. That's the name of the game, especially for Savannah Evans, who walked away with a win here and has, again, a difficult task ahead of her when it comes to taking on the number 9 seed in Starlight Kid. But if there's one person that's capable of making that upset, it could be Savannah Evans.
It absolutely could be. We've the stage is set not for a lot more upsets in round 2. Because we have, it seems that the lower seeds are facing the lower seeds and the highers are facing the highers. I'm setting up, filling in the doc here that I used to. What just happened? That's what happened. I made a boo-boo. There we go. Sorry. So it's going to be Dana Brooke against Nanae Takahashi. So that's the 88 seed against 105. We'll also see number 25, Toni Storm. I guess, Miranda Alizé at 89. Number 8, Charlotte Flair against number 72, Sandra Moon. Number 9, Starlight Kid against who we just saw, Savannah Evans, number 56. I'm enjoying the J.J. Abrams lens flare across her face there. But yeah, so those will be the 4 matches when we come back. But we are going to take a little 5-minute intermission here, leg stretch. Grab another water bottle if you want one. And we will be right back. right, and we are back with our first of 4 second-round matches tonight. Nanae Takahashi already beat Alex Windsor earlier tonight, a 2-star match, and Dana Brooke upset Suzu Suzuki, which got 3 stars, which is tied for the best match of the night. We've had 4 3-star matches. And yours truly, Pat Dooley, alongside the full story Rory T. Miller here, live from Santa Clara, California, apparently.
For this episode, at least, or for this match.
For this match. We've been all over the world tonight. And Nanae Takahashi, who, again, that's not her Twitter handle, because you cannot have a space in your Twitter handle. And also, she's from Kawaguchi, Saitama, Japan, not New York. But yes, 26-year veteran Nanae Takahashi, 5'5", 143 pounds. Rarely, well, I was going to say rarely smaller than her opponent, but she is actually still slightly larger than Dana Brooke. I always forget that Dana Brooke is shorter than you think she is.
Truly.
She is.
But she's very, very muscular, and that kind of makes up for her lacking height, I believe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
She's compact.
Yeah. Nanae Takahashi also one time has held a tag team gold with Kana, the former persona of WWE superstar Asuka.
Indeed.
So no stranger to being dominant is Nanae Takahashi.
And in fact, the internet went into a bit of a "I'm marking out, bro" moment during the Rumble when Asuka came out in her updated look, which is very reminiscent of the gear and the face paint she wore as Kana during her days in Japan. So I'm excited to see a darker side of Asuka apparently starting to emerge on WWE programming.
Yeah, precisely the way that Asuka needs to be now. You know,
yes,
we've had Asuka be, you know, almost the Dean Ambrose of the women's division, where she's goofy but still dangerous, but goofy. And so now let's have her just be she's dangerous.
I am all for making Asuka look as dangerous as possible, because she is one of the most legit dangerous women on the roster, and I'm glad she's finally being treated as such.
And also one of the most studied on the roster as well. Like I feel like language barriers be damned. I feel like Asuka is one of the best students in the game here. But we're here to talk about Nanae Takahashi and Dana Brooke, who starts off with that patented flying head scissor. Flying is, that word is used too often there, but Dana Brooke really does fly on that head scissor.
Yeah, it's I don't know if you ever watched Scrubs, but it's very Eagle.
Oh, it is very Eagle. Yes,
she does that rolling head scissor. She drops a couple of those elbows. That is the move that she used earlier to beat Suzu Suzuki. That handstand elbow drop. She hit Takahashi with 2, but not enough to put her away this early in the match. Straight to the top rope, though. Dana Brooke. Swanton, right across the knees of Nanae Takahashi.
Takahashi now coming back on the offense here. Strikes to the midsection. Muscled her up for a rib breaker. Kicks now and then
stomps the
stomp into the elbow. Oh, here's that incredible deadlift we saw earlier. What
she's gonna
just
I'm gonna throw her to the floor.
But. Yeah, which really would probably be the right strategy here. You got him up already. Make the most of it. You got a 20 count, utilize it. We've only seen one match where a 20 count's been utilized here.
That's right.
Did make it to 13, which was impressive. Hey, there's a sign in the crowd for Dana Brooke. Good for her.
Yeah.
Fall away slam from Takahashi.
Since you pointed it out in the first match, I cannot not look at the Bailey logo on the side of Takahashi's gear.
I'm kind of a fan. I think that's fun. Longtime fans of the indie scene will probably know that a lot of indie wrestlers will sell their old gear that they're no longer using, and sometimes that gear will still have the wrestler's name on it. And quite frankly, I'd be the type of person that I would go out and wear the gear with their name on it. What a way to make a statement, call someone out, and say, "Hey, look at me. I'm wearing your gear. I'm doing it better than you." And if you want to
look good,
Yeah, and if you want to prove it otherwise, cover here by Dana Brooke, 2.
Somersault neckbreaker. That is enough. A little surprised to see that end the match, but it did. And now the number 88 seed, Dana Brooke, is the third WWE representative to advance to the third round. And WWE's dominance of this tournament continues.
Former bodybuilder, former gymnast, and also a former diver is Dana Brooke. And she dives into a lackluster performance of a 1.5-star match, but does move on in the PWS tournament. So, swings and roundabouts. They don't all have to be classics.
That's right. A win is a win is a win, whether you get 1.5 stars or 5. And it's probably the cold medicine talking, but I have already forgotten what move she used to win.
It was that swinging neck breaker.
That's what it was.
Like a snap neck breaker.
Yes. Because I am on day 2 of almost being sick. So it's that fun adventure of like, should I be laying down? I still feel okay, but
yeah, it's upon you.
Yeah, it's coming, which is great because, we're getting close to our first live show with FXE and really can't afford to be missing classes. But if I am, in fact, getting sick, I also don't want to be bringing that to the school and potentially infecting all of our stars.
The roster. But yeah, exciting things are happening at FXE. There's movement every day towards getting closer to that big first live show that's going to completely just blow the doors off of the wrestling world, especially here in Middle Tennessee. And Pat, happy to do along with you.
Yeah, same here. It's I couldn't ask for a better broadcast partner for my first foray into broadcasting a live wrestling show. If the proposed date, which I won't say here because it's not official yet, but if the proposed date winds up being the date of the first show, I think it will be exactly 17 years to the day from my first and last other job in wrestling.
That would honestly be incredible.
I believe it was that date in 2006 that I worked that UCW show. So that would be very impressive if it wound up working out that way.
And I'd have to dig into the archives to see the dates of my stint in my local wrestling scene. But all the same, that's an impressive feat if that is the case, if those dates are aligned.
Yeah.
And if not, I mean, that's still, you're looking at it's history either way,
Yeah, absolutely. And 23-year-old me walked so that 40-year-old me could run. Speaking of running and walking, that's not a great transition. It is our second round match of the night. By the way, Dana Brooke, by virtue of that victory, will face the winner of our main event tonight, between Starlight Kid and Savannah Evans. Toni Storm hoping to keep the all WWE and AEW streak alive, while of course Miranda Alizé hoping to be the first independent woman to make it into the third round. We are in Kansas City for this one. Our the biggest pain in our ass in FXE, Mr. Casey's neck of the woods. But they do have good barbecue.
Oh, for sure. And I like the Jazz too. Not the basketball team, but the actual Jazz that comes out of Kansas City. It's very wonderful. But those are precisely the two reasons that I would want to visit Kansas City. That said, this match, mentioned it earlier. This is two LGBTQ competitors going head to head here, with Miranda Alizé and Toni Storm.
Yeah, it's wild to think that, look at just AEW's roster alone compared to the state of representation in the industry 5 years ago.
Yeah, even just 5 years ago, it's vastly superior. I mean, likewise, not to get too far off topic here, especially as Toni Storm makes her entrance. But there is it's kind of remarkable to think about how just 3 years ago there were still only 2 black world champions in all of WWE history, and now that number has been boosted all the way to 5, which is still a low number, but it's remarkable that we've had that much transition. I know that I've seen a lot of people discuss the historical implications of Big E becoming world champion off of Bobby Lashley, having a black world champion lose to a new black world champion, which is it's both wonderful and also terrible that we have to still have these kinds of conversations in the year 2023. But you're right, representation in wrestling has come a long way in a relatively short amount of time, and for me that's fantastic.
Absolutely. And more of it. The wrestling is, you've made the comparison in the past that pro wrestling really is like sports for theater kids.
Yeah.
Like there's no reason that wrestling fans should be, gatekeeping who is and is not allowed in the business. And I think it's great that we're starting to see, the Toni Storms and the Miranda Alizés comfortable enough to,
to be open,
come right out. And, in AEW, Kiera Hogan and Diamante are together and they're out as a couple in the AEW locker room. And that's, I really can't think of a time when that would have been accepted before recently.
Yeah. Or God forbid, creepily exploited.
That too,
like there's that side as well, which is not even, that doesn't count as acceptance in my book, but it's still, and for a certain segment of the population that they felt like that might've been a necessary evil at a certain time in the business, the history of the business. But all the same, wrestling is a variety show and wrestling is for everyone, and everyone includes everyone. Just to be very clear about that.
Superwoman punch from Alizé.
Yeah.
1, 2.
Well, wow. If it ain't gonna work for Roman, it ain't gonna work for Miranda Alizé, I'm afraid to say. The Superman punch, probably the classic example, along with the Blue Thunder Bomb, of a move that looks like it should win a match but doesn't.
Yes. Oh, got her up on her shoulder. Oh God, go to sleep.
The GTS out of the torture rack position.
2, 3. That does it. Closer to Sammy Guevara's GTH, wasn't it?
Yeah, a little bit.
He does that out of the rack. So Miranda Alizé ends the streak of 5 straight WWE or AEW wrestlers advancing to the 3rd round. The first spot in the round of 32 not occupied by one of those 2 promotions is the number 89 seed, Miranda Alizé.
Miranda Alizé did spend a brief, a very brief, probably the quintessential definition of a cup of coffee in WWE. I've seen here as both one of Adam Rose's many rosebuds, and then also making her WWE in-ring debut, participating in the Mae Young Classic in 2017, where she was eliminated in the first round by Rhea Ripley. So, she's been in there with some of the best.
Absolutely. So how do you feel about Rhea challenging Charlotte instead of Bianca?
I like the story. I think it's the right call to make right now, because if you are really looking at Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair, honestly, to be your, let's call them John Cena and Batista of the future, where you have your 1A and 1B in terms of who's going to carry your division into the future, then I see no reason to put Rhea against Bianca right now, because these 2 are going to be around for a long time. Their stars are only going to increase further. I would be fine to see Bianca hold the Raw Women's Championship through next WrestleMania into 40 even. Maybe she loses it for a stint, but then gets it back before Mania season, But that's, to me, Rhea and Bianca is a match that you can always have in your back pocket, and it will be a barn burning main event. It will bring the crowd. And right now, Charlotte is the top. And as much as everybody does want to see Rhea and Bianca, you can't deny Charlotte is the head of the women's division, period. And it doesn't matter who else is there. Even if Charlotte didn't have a title, she would still be looked at as the woman to beat in WWE. So this feels like the right time to do it. Have Rhea come out and say, you know, do what she did on Raw. Say, hey, I made this loss. She humbled me, but I'm better now, and I'm gonna take it back, and I'm gonna claim my spot. And I feel like that's kind of exactly the story being told here, and it's the right move in my opinion, because it elevates Rhea to the place she needs to be. It protects Bianca so she can still be the Raw Women's Champion, or at least be at the top of the card and not have to. You don't have to have that match too early, because that could easily be a Mania 40 main event overall event, not just a night one main event, which is still something to be said. It is still a main event, but
still a main event.
Still a main event. It's just something. There's something different about it being a night two main event, where like you're the real main event, you know?
Right.
There's always that tiny little asterisk that's going to be on there for anybody, for like your Kevin Owens and Stone Cold, or your Bianca and Sasha, you know?
Right.
It is a main event, but it's a night one main event.
I didn't like the idea on paper, but seeing that that's the direction they're going, and remembering what it was that drove me away from wrestling in like 2012 in the first place, which was when they went back to Cena and Orton for like the 30,000th time. Like, oh, nothing will ever change. And I don't want Bianca and Rhea to ever get to that point. So
keep them apart as long as possible. Pull the trigger when you need to, and people will love it. But then you split them again. And the thing is, the roster is so deep that you like who's you know, we've mentioned Asuka previously. She's one that could be right up there. She could even be Bianca's opponent this year for 39. But then also two names we haven't mentioned at all here that are currently roster members are Bayley and Becky Lynch, and those two you can easily slot as contenders for any title anywhere, and that's not even considering all of the talent that they have that they can cycle in and bring up and build up. But
Io Sky's your Piper Niven, now that
Piper Niven back,
embracing her Viper persona again.
Raquel Gonzalez as well as someone that they have a lot of promise in. And I know Raquel Gonzalez and Rhea Ripley are real life very good friends and came up together on the NXT circuit. So very likely that you could see a program between the two of them in the near future, assuming Rhea Ripley wins the SmackDown Women's Championship, which I feel is a pretty safe assumption.
That is my biggest fear about them going to the Rhea and Charlotte is that it's a good story, but they might Booker T it and wind up destroying a potential, decades-long main eventer before she even gets started.
And I know that there's certain forces that have creeped their way back into the WWE creative space, but hopefully there's enough at the top to be able to understand that, or there's enough vision at the top still to say, hey, we got this. We know what we're doing here. We're righting the wrong from WrestleMania in 2020. What year was that? 36, I believe. Which was, by the way, that was Rhea and Charlotte for the NXT Championship, and they had a fantastic match. It was an incredible match.
Excellent match.
Probably the best in-ring match from that Mania, in my opinion. But the wrong person came out on top, and so that would be. This to me feels like the righting of that wrong, and then putting over that new person to take the mantle, because Charlotte can always be there. She always has a home, and she's always going to be near the top. She's essentially you're in that Undertaker Brock Lesnar category where you can always throw a title on her if you need to, but she doesn't even need it because she can become the Undertaker for the women's division. If I could beat Charlotte at Mania, I've made it.
Yeah. Well, and she's what her dad was in the NWA. He was the guy that the next guy beat to become the guy. To be the man, you got to beat the man.
Yeah.
So there's a reason that Flair held the title 16 times is because he had to drop it to get Sting over. He dropped it to get, Steamboat over. He dropped it to get, Hogan over. Not that Hogan needed the help, but when it became clear that was the direction they were taking, he lost the title at Bash at the Beach 94 to Hogan in his first match. Like, here, it's yours now. And And I think Charlotte, if she understands that is what her, what's best for her is to be that, the final boss that somebody has to beat before they can become the top, and that she herself doesn't necessarily have to always be the one with the belt, then I think that's the perfect fit for her.
Yeah.
Have her win the title a bunch of times, but then always lose it to whoever the next one you're ready to push to the moon.
Yeah.
Whoever that person is.
And they've done it, They've done it plenty.
Yeah.
Speaking of Charlotte,
here she comes against Sandra Moon, hoping to make it 2 upsets in a row and 2 independents in a row. My monitor's got a little... Oh, no, that's actually part of the image. Got a little schmutz on her face there. But, Sandra Moon earlier tonight upset Giulia, whereas Charlotte beat Jody Threat. So far, the 2 women that have advanced from this show, we're in Colorado Springs now. The 2 women who have advanced to the round of 32 are the number 88 and 89 seeds. We will see if number 72, Sandra Moon, can continue that streak, or if number 8, Charlotte Flair, finally gets a win for the favorites.
Looking up a little more on Sandra Moon, I see that she became the Party Monster champion, or whatever the full title is. I don't even remember, by defeating Billy Starks, who I know is on this list as well.
Well, had I known, I would have worn my Billy Starks t-shirt that I bought at the GCW New South show that we went to a couple weeks ago.
Yes, for those listening at home, Billy Starks is a delight and very very kind to fans and willing to take a picture for free as of right now. So get in on that before her star explodes even more, and then she starts charging for it.
Yep, I mean, she's already working. Excuse me, AEW dark matches.
Yeah, and definitely someone that, like, one of those people that I didn't even follow on social media myself, but there were enough other wrestlers that I did follow that are so supportive of Billy Stark specifically. It seems like she has that kind of like inside, or like coworker support that you don't see a lot of especially in pro wrestling. That means to me that the sky's the limit for Billy Starks. Because if you have that kind of support from your fellow wrestlers who are also trying to get where you are, that just says to me that you not only know how to work in the ring and how to get the crowd on your side, but you also know how to help your opponent have the best match possible and how to be the best person in the locker room to share a locker room with. So good on Billy Starks for that. But anyway, we're here to talk about Charlotte Flair going up against Sandra Moon.
Yes, the queen against the subspace sweetheart, which is funny because Billy Starks also has some Space Jesus,
I believe,
name. But yeah, Charlotte looked pretty dominant against Jody Threat earlier, the number 8 overall seed mentioned before. She's been on the PWI list every year since 2014. Only once has been on the outside of the top 10, and even then she was only 15. So just one of the most dominant, probably the most dominant female wrestler of her generation.
Yeah, I don't think there's anybody that even comes close. Ronda Rousey, maybe in terms of her first run, but her second one has not been quite the same. And Ronda has a bigger name and value in terms of her star power. But as far as your actual accolades, yeah, Charlotte's got it all. I mean, WrestleMania main eventer, 14-time world champion, Royal Rumble winner. I think, I think the only thing she doesn't have is a Money in the Bank to her name, and that's probably because she's been champion every time the match has been held.
Right, you can't cash in on yourself.
Yeah.
But Charlotte, I mean, you think of the kind of the Mount Rushmore of women wrestlers, you got to think Charlotte's face is going to be there front and center alongside. Quick pin there after that knee drop from Charlotte. Only 2, but that was a long 2 this early in the match.
What an absolute shocker that would be, even for someone as good as Charlotte Flair, to pick up a win that fast against Sandra Moon.
But I'm trying to think of like who else is in that pantheon with Charlotte, and you got, obviously, in terms of star power, Trish Stratus would be way up there.
China,
China. This is in no way an endorsement of her as a person, but the run that the Fabulous Moolah had for 30 plus years.
Yeah, it's hard to argue in terms of her actual, in-ring legacy.
Right.
Yeah, you're right. As far as a person goes, she doesn't need to be on there at all. But yeah, the in-ring legacy is it was
to count off the slingshot suplex there for Flair. And that's hard on the men's side too. Maybe none of the top names quite as egregious as what Moolah did, but I mean, Ric Flair is no angel. Hulk Hogan certainly not.
It's hard. It's hard to find. I mean, like anything in show business, it's really hard to find, angels in and amongst the rosters or just across the board. Which is another thing we were talking about earlier about the representation being a lot better in pro wrestling these days, and I think that also says a lot about who is backstage and who is booking events and who's running promotions. Because good people hire good people, bad people hire bad people. So I mean, let's keep the good people rolling. Sandra Moon with a belly to belly here,
only get
2 count.
I think the more different kinds of ideas and backgrounds you can have in a booking room or in an HR department or whatever, the more your world is going to be open to bringing in good people. But if you have a bunch of people that all think the same way, they're just going to hire more people that think the way that they think.
Yep.
And, you wind up with a major motion picture being made about the Von Erich family. Because, boy.
Yeah.
Fritz was a piece of work.
Yeah, that's putting it mildly. Really, we could do
Charlotte going for the figure 4. She's going to bridge up into the 8. This might be enough. We're deeper into the match than when she did it earlier against Jody Threat.
Sandra Moon fighting, trying her best, but it may be
maybe turning orange. And she has to tap out.
Yeah, you got to tap after that.
It's too much.
I mean, valiant effort from Sandra Moon, but this one is kind of Flair's to lose at this point.
Yeah, Charlotte Flair, the number 8 seed, but you really have to consider her one of the favorites to win the whole thing. Not least of all because the number 1 overall seed, Shuri, got eliminated last week. But just the fact that she is, we've been talking about her as, the iconic figure of women's wrestling right now. Who I hate to be who can eliminate the Big Show from the Royal Rumble, but who can beat Charlotte Flair in this tournament? Yeah,
this could be one of the stories for sure. I mean, whoever does beat Charlotte Flair, first off, they're going to get at least a 3-star rating because I don't think Charlotte is allowed to do a match with less than 3 stars. But also it'll be an incredible rub for them and huge momentum boost going through the rest of the tournament.
Well, next on the hit list for Charlotte will be Miranda Alizé. That will be coming up in, I believe, episode 11 of this tournament. So we've still got quite a few first and second round matches before we get to the third. But when we get to that point, it will be Charlotte Flair, the number 8 seed, against number 89, Miranda Alizé. And now it's time for the main event where we will find out who will face Dana Brooke on that same show. This is the only one of our second round matches where both of the favorites won their first round match, as the number 9 seed Starlight Kid beat Shotzi and number 56 Savannah Evans beat Laura DiMatteo. And so now they will face off for a showdown with Dana Brooke and a berth in the third round.
This is going to be an incredible matchup. I do want to say real quick that Sandra Moon, her handle on Twitter is at Sandra Moonpie, and I, as a Tennessee native, I'm a big fan of moon pies, and so thanks to Sandra for keeping that alive a little bit.
Yes, thanks for representing the Tennessee treat. She just needs moon pie and a Mountain Dew, and then she's Tennessee through and through.
I believe Mountain Dew's Kentucky. I think Sundrop is what you're thinking of. Sundrop is the Tennessee beverage.
I could have sworn Mountain Dew had something about from the Tennessee. You might be right though.
Mountain Dew, it's certainly Southern. I know that much because Mountain Dew is also, in case you didn't know, is a euphemism for moonshine.
Yes.
But I'm curious as to its founding. I'm looking it up now.
Original formula invented in 1940 by Tennessee beverage bottlers Barney and Allie Hartman.
Well, there you go. Wow. So we got quite a few going for us. Because Sundrop also, which has recently been nationalized, though not to nearly the level of popularity that Mountain Dew is also a Tennessee beverage, native, I guess, for lack of a better word.
Yeah, it's like having a cheer wine in North Carolina.
Right, precisely. Yeah, have a Sundrop when you're in Tennessee. But good on Mountain Dew for making it national, I suppose.
Yes. The first people also ask for Mountain Dew on Google is Mountain Dew a healthy drink?
And as a lifelong drinker, let me tell you, it is not.
Nope.
Not even close.
I love me a Mountain Dew, but yeah, I'm not drinking it for my health.
Yeah, certainly not. It is a tasty treat, and not much more than that. Savannah Evans, I am walking out of this tournament already a Savannah Evans fan, and excited to see more of what the Cannibal can give us. And also being on the Impact roster means that we probably have a better chance to see her live more than most, Pat.
Indeed. We almost certainly have mutual friends.
Yeah.
We have a lot of connections on the Impact side that I'm sure at least one of them knows Savannah. Here comes SLK, who we saw in our opener, beat Shotzi. We will see if she can beat non-tank drivers in our main event. She takes on a Cannibal. It's basically Starlight Kid is working her way through the plot of The Last of Us. She's fought the tank. Now she's going to fight the cannibals.
That was a good one. I haven't actually seen it just yet, but I appreciate that. I was gonna come up with something similar along the lines of like a dystopian anime series. You know? All right, so there's the tank girl, and then you have the cannibal, and who's gonna come next? But yeah, you're right.
I haven't actually watched the show yet. I know I should, because I know that waiting to binge it all hurts the metrics for it and makes it less likely. But I think HBO knows what they've got on their hands, and they're going to get a second season.
Yeah, they definitely do. I've also not seen an episode just yet, but I do recall seeing something along the lines of episode 3 is one of the greatest episodes of any television show in history. So it's definitely on the watch list. We're going to try and make it a higher priority.
I am finally playing through the game. I've had it since I got my PS4, however many years ago that was. And I would start it and play it and then get distracted by something else. I'd play it, get distracted by something else, and keep coming back to it. But with the show out now, I picked it back up on PS5, and I've been playing it. And I think I know what part of the game episode 3 is covering.
Ah, nice.
And if it is that, then yes, it will absolutely break your heart.
Incredible.
And it also, the game is, there's so many people complaining about, like, why did they have to make everything so gay in the show? Like, oh, you were not paying attention when you played this game, were you? They're not subtle. They're not, apparently in the second game, they're more literal about things, but the subtext in the first one is it's basically text.
Sure, yeah. Not a lot of sub to it.
No. Yeah, I'm not gonna spoil it, because if you're gonna watch the show or play the game, but
yeah, I'm an Xbox boy over here, so I've never played The Last of Us, despite knowing and understanding its critical acclaim. Certainly a game it's one of those times when I wish that a console exclusivity didn't exist.
Yes.
An early one count there from Starlight Kid on Savannah Evans. Savannah Evans, Starlight Kid might as well be facing a tank right now the size of Savannah Evans.
Might as well. Yeah, this is a significantly larger opponent. Starlight Kid, we mentioned earlier, 4'11", whereas Savannah Evans is 5'9".
Incredible.
That's almost an entire foot taller, plus outweighing her by 73 pounds. Like, that is a massive size difference. Huge splash there, though, from Starlight Kid.
Yeah, and 100 pounds coming off the top doesn't matter. That's not going to feel good.
Yeah, hey, gravity, has the same effect on a feather as it does on a brick.
Yeah, truly. One other thing I love about Savannah Evans, she is part of a trio of competitors on the American indie scene, known as the Sexy Young Caramels, along with Devin Nicole and Ariel Monroe. And not a team I'm going to root against, if I'm being honest.
No, that sounds very close to your type. Although I've known you a while. I don't know that you have a type.
Yeah, well, the closest thing I have to a type is Savannah Evans having the ref hold her back on that one. That was nice. The closest thing I have to a type is if they're a theater nerd at some point in their life, and if they're polyamorous, and that's kind of about the extent of it.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Savannah Evans with a very unique move there, just holding him in that fallaway slam position. Oh,
driving
only getting a one count
before throwing back.
Yeah, keep kind of using the ropes as leverage too to help drive the knees in. It was very impressive. But again, when you have the power of Savannah Evans and you're working such a smaller opponent like Starlight Kid, it's really easy to make those kinds of powerful moves there.
Nice firewoman carry takeover there by Starlight Kid to get some momentum back, but Savannah right back on the offensive. Dropping her face first. Deadlift into a gut wrench power bomb.
Oh man,
that might be enough.
Throwing her
one
arm in the face too.
Starlight Kid barely able to kick out.
Very close on that one. Starlight Kid also formerly in a tag team with Shibusawa. Excuse me. Oh, cover here. Kick out at one. Their portmanteau team name was She Kid.
Yeah,
very appropriate. Oh, Savannah Evans going to the top here. I don't know if this is the right call.
Massive elbow across the back of the head.
Honestly, just, pin her now. I mean.
Stop. She's
already dead.
Big tilt-a-whirl head scissor here from SLK.
The Eagle head scissors, as we've called it now.
Eagle.
She's
going for here. Tiger suplex. 1, 2. Oh.
Oof.
Almost pulled it off there.
Here, a pin drop from the crowd on that one.
Oh, we've got a fight forever chant.
Now this has been quite a match for sure. It's like they know that this is the main event, so they're throwing out all the stops. Standing moonsault splash from Starlight Kid.
The Kid going back up top here. Oh, went for Twisted Bliss, but I think
got the knees up. Yeah, I mean Savannah Evans still out on her feet a little bit. I mean, but she's been taking a lot of punishment here.
Oh God, oof. That's the same move that she used to beat Laura Di Matteo earlier. But Starlight Kid grabs the bottom rope, and the referee sees it. Bit of controversy from an earlier episode of this show. Io Sky did the same thing, grabbing the bottom rope. The ref did not see it. Oh God, she does it again.
Might as well.
And again, Starlight
too close to the ropes.
Unable to kick out, desperately grabbing the bottom rope. Savannah Evans needs to pull Starlight Kid toward the center of the ring. What's she going for here? Pump handle, suplex.
Into the suplex. Devastating for sure. We're already at 4 stars here on this match, though, Pat. This is a great one.
Definitely match of the night. 4 stars the previous high. God.
Oh,
does it again.
A third one. This is a Mania main event
1,
here.
2, 3.
Count
that
it.
Does it.
Yeah.
Number 56, Savannah Evans.
With an upset here. I don't have the stats off the top of my head, but this is certainly a major upset. Could be one of the biggest.
It's the number 56 over number 9. So pretty big upset. But with that said, Savannah Evans, the second highest seed to advance out of this episode.
Yeah, an amazing match there. 4 stars there. Fantastic back and forth on that one. And just the absolute devastation of those. I don't know what to call it. The suplex into the GTS. Just absolutely incredibly devastating. I will say it seems that Evans has used the fisherman suplex as a finisher in the past. And I believe I saw Starlight Kid attempt a fisherman earlier on in this match. So a little mind games played there, but not enough to take down the Cannibal, who's just too strong, too powerful, and picks up a major victory.
Yeah. Savannah Evans was not to be stopped tonight. and we will see her take on Dana Brooke in 7-ish weeks in the third round of the tournament. We do have, let me see, I've got the sheet here. Okay, so next Sunday, we will be back with more of the 150, where we will see Becky Lynch take on Chris Statlander, Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, against Taryn from Accounting, Utami Hayashishida against Nikki Cross, Shoko Nakajima against Kiera Hogan, Roxanne Perez against Mai Saruga, Jetta against Asuka, but not the Asuka you're thinking of, the one that's still in Japan that was formerly known as Venny. Billy Starks against Serena Deeb, and Asuka, yes, the one you're thinking of, against Jessica Troy. That will be next. Actually, I said that was Sunday. That is actually going to be this Thursday. We're going to try and do or at least I'm going to try and do 3 streams. Rory, you are welcome to join if you can. I'm going to try to do 3 streams this week because we lost some time when I was out of town for a family emergency. So I'm trying to make it up because the goal is to have both the 150 and what I'm about to talk about end on WrestleMania weekend. So in order to catch up to that point, I've got to throw a couple extra streams in this week. So that will happen this coming Thursday. But before that, this Tuesday night will be the premiere of the 100, which is our first ever tag team tournament. We'll have 12 tag team matches on that show. The Viking Raiders against Waves and Curls, Alpha Academy against the Blondes, the New Day against Los Lotharios, House of Torture against MSP, Strong Hearts against the Butcher and the Blade, Violent by Design against the Natural Classics, Kung Fu Masters against the Creed Brothers, the 0121 against Midnight Heat, the Guns against TDT, Angelo Parker and Matt Menard representing the Jericho Appreciation Society against the Iron Savages, the Velocities against TME, and the Gorillas of Destiny against Strong BJ. The BJ stands for Big Japan. It's a language thing. But that is the team of Daisuke Sekimoto and Yuji Okabayashi. 12 big tag matches coming up this Tuesday, 12 more women's matches on Thursday. It's an exciting time to be here at Pro Wrestling Simulated as we are on our way. It's the road to WrestleMania weekend for us too, as we will crown the first ever World Simuladies champion and the first ever World Simulate Tag champions, alongside the World Simuweight champion Royce Chambers, who won our inaugural tournament last year.
Well, Pat, this was quite take a breather off that one. This was quite a fun evening of exciting simulated wrestling action, and I'm excited for more, and thanks so much for having me, and I will be sure to hop on as often as I can to just provide extra commentary and feedback on all these fun matches. And it sounds like there's a great line of programming coming up in the near future, and I'm excited to see it.
Absolutely. I'm glad you are here, and I'm excited for the next round. And man, guys, get excited for FXE Crush Live. It's coming, and it's going to be good. We've been talking with the higher ups about what the venue is going to look like once it's all set up for us. It's gonna. The founder of the school, AJ Gallant, always likes to point out that we're not indie, and this show is we're going to come out swinging and show you why. But until then, we will see you Tuesday night for the premiere of the 100. For the full story, Rory T. Miller, I am yours truly, Pat Dooley. Thanks for joining us here at Pro Wrestling Simulated, and we'll see you in a couple days.